Welcome to Techcentric Planet, where we offer a glimpse to the future of humanity through the lens of technology.
We've sought out innovators and founders who are interested in providing solutions to some of our most fundamental human-centric problems with a view to help our planet.
I'm Mary Beth Hosking, and my co-host, the charismatic Professor Martin Parr.
On this episode, we will be talking with Jo Baker, who will be discussing her innovation, the Savvy Living Formula. Welcome, Jo.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to be here.
Great to have you on board. So tell me about your innovation and how it will help society and the planet.
Yeah, it's a really simple approach to managing your money really effectively. So it's designed specifically for women who feel overwhelmed with their money, who want a really clear but practical way forward. And the formula is really, really simple. It's a solid plan plus positive habits over time, and it equals a whole new way of life. And it isn't just about budgeting and things like that. It's about really rewriting our financial stories, throwing away the good girl limitations and really stepping into true financial stability. I think a lot of us have given away the notion of financial freedom and things like that. I think with the global situation at the moment, financial freedom feels like it's a bit of a way off. And I think a lot of women would just, if we could just get stable, if I could just have stability in my finances, then I'm happy. And that's what the Savvy Living Formula is all about.
Oh, that sounds
awesome.
Amazing, Jo. Absolutely amazing. And
Yeah.
and there is that, I know a lot of women feel that there's quite the distastefulness around money and finances and talking about money. And so we shy away from that.
Agree.
So I do wonder, why did you decide to develop this Savvy Living Formula?
Because I used to be a hot money mess, and that's not overstating who I was. I was stuck in the good girl. It's not ladylike, it's not good, it's not feminine for women to start talking about money or wealth or, financial security or anything like that. It's a very taboo subject for women. And because of that, a lot of us grow up not knowing how to have money, not how to know how to manage it, because it's not taught to us. And women have a very, very different approach to money. But once I discovered that it's not about this great, big, scary monster that lives in your bank account, it's actually about really small, consistent steps that you can take over time that will completely shift your reality. And for me, I knew once I got in my rhythm, when I got money in my bank account, and I realized it actually takes less than 10 minutes a week, I just knew that I had to share this with other women. We have to get the message out there that it's not hard. It's actually really quite simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, it's something that's very much needed, isn't it? What hurdles did you face when you were developing this?
For me, on my personal hurdles, I was born a good girl. I was raised a good girl. I went to a Catholic all-girls school, and I was taught by nuns. You don't get more good girl than that. So for me, it was about breaking some of those stereotypes that I grew up with and really flying in the face of that. Now, when you've come from a child being praised for being a good girl, for praised being the child in your family that's really not hard, having to fly in the face of that is actually really, really confronting, because you have to turn up differently. You can't be the same person. You have to show up very differently. So for me, it was just even getting my head around this was really, really difficult. Once I got myself sorted, the hard thing then became talking to my friends. Because I remember going to an Australia Day barbecue, and someone said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I've just written this book on money." And they go, "Oh, no, I don't do that." And that was it. It was just a conversation stopper. And I found that more and more often, more frequently I talked about it, was just like, "Oh, no, I don't care about money. I'm not that person," was also something else that came up quite a bit, as if And then again, that conditioning is just like, no, 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 I'm a good girl. I can't talk about that stuff. So there was a real narrative there that was happening. And it became, me having these conversations brought up shame, because not everyone has their financial ducks lined up. It brought up that challenge that, well, hang on a minute, if I have to look at my money, I have to look at me. And, all of those sort of the murky bits that sit just underneath the surface are all the things that tended to come up. So it wasn't only my own struggles that I went with, it was actually getting the word out there and being comfortable enough to accept the pushback when it came.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
just going to ask that you I think in all countries, women have there's that barrier about talking with money, but it's particularly taboo in Australia, isn't it? It's a particular taboo, isn't it?
Very much so. And
Yeah.
I think as well, we still have a massive gender pay gap. Mary Beth could probably talk to this better than I can. A massive gender pay gap. And while we are fighting the good fight, and I use the word fight loosely, we are pushing forward. We are taking back ground. We are doing those sorts of things, which is fantastic. We are getting money in the hands of more good women. And when we do that, women have this incredible capacity to share it. We share it through education, through our kids, through our community, through our work. We have this incredible ability to share and grow our networks. But what happens is that, we come across this thing where all of a sudden we've got more money, but again, we don't know how to manage it properly. So there's that, still we're living in that dichotomy of more, don't know, more, don't know. And I think a lot of women have a love-hate relationship with their money. We love to have it. I'm in the same. Love to have it, love to spend it. But we don't want to manage it. We hate managing it. So I think those sorts of things and those conversations is what I'm all about, because I've done this for so long now that I'm brave enough and I've done my work so that I'm more comfortable now to get out there and have this conversation, even if it does ruffle some feathers.
I think you have to ruffle feathers, Jo. Absolutely.
Agree.
I guess I had the I'm going to say the privilege of growing up with. There were 5 daughters in my family, so with 4 sisters, and my mother was an accountant. And she made Monopoly miserable because she was always the banker, and she'd give you an overdraft if you wanted to put a couple of houses on, if you wanted the hotel, and then suddenly she'd calculate every time you passed go. Still have heart palpitations.
PTSD.
From Monopoly. My son will say to me, "Let's play Monopoly, Mum." I'm like, no. However,
Love it.
What she taught me, she taught all of us, have a plan B.
Yes.
And I remember, so in high school, when I was going through high school, it was home economics, sewing, and business studies, which included typing on a manual typewriter. But I remember Mrs. Best was my teacher, and she was brilliant. She taught us how to balance a checkbook for our husbands when we got married, but she also taught us general ledgers, double entry bookkeeping. And so, in fact, at a very young age, I knew all about and was never uncomfortable with money, but always the negotiation. It was the negotiation piece. And I remember going for a job, and my husband said to me, "If you don't ask for this much per hour, I'm going to kick your ass when you get home." And I was kind of like, "Ooh, okay," because it's not even enough. It's not even enough to know how to deal with money, how to budget, how to be comfortable with it. But it's about being savvy around negotiation.
Absolutely.
And having that, knowing your worth. And I believe that you talk a lot about that worth piece as well, Jo. And that,
absolutely,
I think is so important. I want to ask you around that and around like how you were starting to put this together. What did the naysayers, because you already started talking about it, but what did the naysayers say about what you were doing, and how did that spur you on?
Oh, look, the minute someone says to me, "You can't," watch me is my favourite, watch me. And I think there are plenty of naysayers. And I actually think the naysayers are quite a good thing when you're starting out, because it really makes you test your mettle. You know, it really makes you, well, am I committed to this or not? So I think when the naysayers do come out, it's quite a good litmus test. See, have I got my savvy around this or not? But the most resounding thing that happened to me was the naysayers, and it was a collective going, women just aren't interested in that stuff. We're not interested in it.
Who was saying that? Was it women or men or both?
Both. Can you believe it? Both.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, women don't do that. Yeah, my wife or, you know, my girlfriend or whoever it was, no, women aren't interested in that sort of thing. And to me, it felt like I was getting this gender pat on the head. Oh, aren't you just cute? Do you know what I mean? It was a patronising pat on the head. And again, my reaction is, watch me.
Love it.
Watch me.
Love it.
Because if you can do it, I can do it too. The fact that I have ovaries does not preclude me from doing what you can do. You may be stronger than me, you might be smarter than me, you might have all sorts of things that I don't have, but I have this as well. So I'm not a one size fits all, that's for sure. Not everyone is going to fall in my bucket. I think this topic can be very, very polarizing. So it definitely pulls the wheat from the chaff. But the interesting thing is, my book launch was on the weekend, and it was such a fun event. I got double the number of women RSVP to it than I was expecting, and that was only after a week of advertising. And these are women on so I do, you know, my social media and things like that. Twice the number of women that we were expecting showed up for the book launch. And that just goes to say that while we do have the naysayers and we do have the, oh, isn't she cute, little pats on the head, there's this gorgeous, diverse mixture of women who are coming together and creating this amazing movement. Yeah. And we're all kind of like, you know what, I want a piece of that action too. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the money. I will help you manage it. I will help you get your head around it. It's about choice. It's the choice to leave the relationship that's no longer serving you because you don't have to stay there because you're financially tired. It's about leaving the job that's no longer serving you because you don't want to be yelled at work anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's about taking your kids on that trip to Disneyland that you've always promised. You know, this is what it does. It allows you to get education. You can buy better food. You can take your kids and you can get better health care. I look after my parents. I send food I get Light and Easies delivered to my parents every week. They're in their 80s now, and if I left it to them, they'd be having Vegemite on toast all day. Right? But now I can afford to do that. I can afford, when my best friend got in some hot water a couple of years ago, totally bailed her out because I can. That's what this is about. Yes, I have a nice car. Yes, I have a nice apartment. I really do live a lifestyle that used to be a dream. Now it's my reality. But it's so much more than the vanity things. It's about, this is what I can do. And that comes back to what we were talking about earlier. When you put the money in the hands of women, it becomes growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a huge amount of evidence across the world to say that women are way better at managing money than men, actually.
Funny, isn't it?
It is extraordinary. Can I just go back? There's something that's just fascinated me in that story. So there you were, going to the sort of the good Catholic school, you were the good girl, etc. And you've then decided to do something which is different from that kind of pathway that, you know, if your parents wrote the pathway for you, they probably wouldn't have written this when you started out. So how did you find that resilience? What was the resilience in you? Because you're doing it. This is culture change. This is, and as you said, there's this continual, you know, society's coming along saying nope, we don't do that, etc. But you've got to be pretty resilient to get through that, haven't you? What was the resilience?
I think so. You know, from an early age, my father was always working. So it was just mum and me and my brother. So Dad travelled overseas quite a lot. He was always working long hours. My dad's an engineer. So he was travelling the world doing the most amazing, incredible things. So when I was at home, it was always mum. Mum would fix the leaky pipe. Mum would get the lawns mowed, those sorts of things. So my grounding and my learning for that kind of stepping up stuff absolutely came from my mum. She's a remarkable woman, and she taught me so much about being independent whilst being in a relationship. She really can hold her own in the most graceful and elegant way. Then, you know, I was married for 13 years and divorced my husband, so I left. When I did, I had 4 children. I had a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old and 3-year-old twins. And I was 32 at the time. So for then, that again is drawing on the learnings that I got from mum as a kid. Have to do it by myself. And I think, you know, sometimes life just pushes you in this direction. And the kids are the thing that makes you get out of bed in the morning when you really don't want to. You know, there were plenty of times when I could have just pulled the doona over my head and saying, "World, I am not talking to you today." But, you know, there's the knock at the door and the kids going, "Where's my Weet-Bix?" Right? So those sorts of things. I don't think it's one thing. I think it's a lot of little things that come together. And I think the test of it all is when your back's against the wall. What I've realised over the last couple of years through doing the book and going on this journey is that all of those little pieces I can pull together now, and that's my metal. Because I've got these amazing reference points. I know that when something breaks in the house, I have my own toolkit and it's pink and I love it, right? So I can go and I can put IKEA together better than anybody I know, right? So I can do those sorts of things. You want IKEA stuff built? I'm your girl. There's those sorts of things.
Now we know. Joe's the
the IKEA queen.
Brilliant. Just brilliant.
You know, and then you've got, you know, all those little pieces as being a parent. Like I didn't know how to be a parent. I was a parent at 22. I became a mum. So, you know, you just those little things, you pull them all together and you create your jigsaw puzzle and there you go. There's me.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, and that's, as you say, it's that sort of just continual that story of keeping going and the children driving you along, and wow, that's an amazing story. Just thinking about your innovation, thinking about the formula you've developed and your book, what would you like to see happen now? What would you like to see?
Oh my gosh, I want this in the hands of any woman across the world.
Yes.
I have a goal to get my book, my story, my formula in the hands of 1 million women. And I can't do that by myself. I am so energized. I am so passionate. I'm getting goosebumps right now just talking about it, because financial stability and choice is accessible. It is completely accessible. More and more women now there are more single women than ever before. There are more women forging their own ways, whether it's through business, employment, or whatever their vehicle is. You know, we're doing so much more of this now, and I think, you know, let's get this in the hands of many women, and then we will see some incredible change happen across the world. Communities will grow, charities will grow. Oh my God, I can't even get my head around, if we can get this in the hands of 1 million women, the kind of ripple effect change that will take is phenomenal.
Well, we're hoping to be able to help you with that mission, Joe, because we think it's an amazing mission. All right, now we're at the pointy end of the podcast. This is the question that all of our guests love or hate. But yes, so here we go. If you found yourself awake in front of aliens bent on destroying the planet, how would you convince them not to, in 25 words or less?
Destroying the Earth would be the most expensive mistake of your existence, because women are finally taking charge of their money. So stick around and you will see true financial magic.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
How brilliant is that?
I thought about that for ages. Just like, what am I really going to say here? So that was a lot of fun.
I love that. I love give the power back. We would like it back, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. That's absolutely great. Perfect. Jo, thank you so much for joining us on Techcentric Planet. And I'd like to say thanks to my co-host, Marybeth Hosking.
Join us for our next episode where we tease out another amazing innovation designed to help humanity. And remember, if you've thought of a problem, chances are someone out there is developing a solution for it. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.